Hi everybody, Bryant Greening here from LegalRideshare. I'm here with Dr. Eugene Zhao from La Clinica. Doctor, thanks for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me again.
Yeah, it's great to connect and have the opportunity to talk about accident and injury law and the way that we see it from the legal side and the way that you see it from the medical side. Dr. Zhao, before we get started, can you tell us just a little bit about La Clinica?
Sure. La Clinica is injury care clinics in mostly Hispanic areas of Chicago, and we have been serving our community since 2005, treating people who are injured at work, personal injuries, sports injuries. We have different types of physicians in our group that will help out depending on the severity of the injury.
So, we get so many calls from people who have been injured in car accidents, injured on the job, largely, gig workers, Uber, Lyft, Instacart, you name it. And something that they always ask us is, how do I choose the right doctor? And why is it important to choose the right doctor? Do you have any insight into that?
Some people choose to go to the emergency room doctor. If it's an emergency, they feel like there's something urgent and very serious that could be a imminent emergency, they should go to the ER. But patients need to understand that the emergency room doctor is there to make sure that you're okay, you're stable, and that you can follow up with your doctor. Now, if you have a lot of pain after an accident, you have difficulty turning your neck, you have difficulty working, okay, you went to the ER or you didn't go to the ER, you choose a doctor who's going to help you with your symptoms. In the ER, they're not necessarily going to do that. You choose your own doctor, and they will work you up, and they'll give you their best options. Like Clinica, for example, will evaluate the patient, and that'll help us determine to see what kind of specialist they need and what kind of treatment they need. Sometimes it may be very simple. It could be starting with therapy and starting with some simple medication, or it could be after we do a more complete workup. It could be something that may require some what we call interventional pain or injections, and hopefully a very small percentage of people require surgery. But we're able to handle that in the outpatient setting is what it's called. Emergency room again is more for stabilizing the patient, make sure they're safe. And then a clinic like ours who specializes in treating injury, we have all different doctors, all different specialists, all different types of diagnostic tools. We'll find the right treatment for you.
We tell people after accidents all the time that it's important to get medical treatment sooner rather than later. And if you're really hurt, if you're really feeling pain, if you're bleeding or have some sort of issue that needs attention right away, we do recommend going to the emergency room, getting checked out. But as you indicated, the emergency room doctors are really there to make sure that you don't die, that things are stable, and they're going to refer you to that next physician. A lot of times they'll say, go to your primary care doctor. And the reason for that is so that you can get that workup, so that you can understand exactly what's wrong and what kind of treatment plan you need. One of the hurdles that we run into is that many of our clients don't have primary care doctors. They get that order from the ER and they throw their hands up in the air and they say, I don't know where to go. Would La Clinica see patients like that who don't have an established relationship with the facility?
Absolutely, and that's why we're located in certain areas of the city, in blue-collar neighborhoods where we know that a lot of people don't have insurance, and we know that, for example, in a workers' compensation claim, the patient they have a right to see a doctor, and we're there to provide that type of care to them. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't know, but they have a right to see their own doctor. The employer is going to pay for the usual necessary medical care for that injury, and they're not going to be responsible for paying for it. But they may not know, one, that it's a work injury or that it's an injury, and they need to be seen by somebody. We'll do a free consultation. You'll come in again. We'll evaluate you, see what kind of physician specialist you need, if it's something complicated or not as complicated, and not to get too far ahead of myself, but sometimes we can't tell how complicated it's going to be on day one, but we're watching it closely, and we're experts with injuries.
Well, so you mentioned workers' compensation, and in Illinois, each worker has the option to choose to see 2 of their own doctors. And then those doctors can refer people to other doctors. So as long as you maintain that chain, see one doctor, get referred to another, get referred to another, all of that treatment is going to be valid under the workers' compensation laws and should be paid for through the employer's insurance. On the third-party liability side, the standard auto accident, bodily injury claim, you can choose to see whatever doctor you want, and as long as that doctor is following the standards that are reasonable in the medical profession and charging a reasonable amount for their care, the insurance company at the end is going to foot that bill and make sure that you don't have any debt for the treatment that you had to have as a result of the accident. We always tell people you want to establish that connection with the doctor soon, and the reason being you want to have a clear connection between the accident and the injury. So how soon do you recommend a patient come to see you at La Clinica to establish that relationship after an injury?
Like you mentioned, the sooner the better. If you're feeling symptoms the same day and then you can tell that they're unusual and they're bothering you, come the same day. We understand most people don't come the same day because they want to try perhaps an over-the-counter. They want to see if it just gets a little bit better with a couple of hours or an ice pack or take something, like I said, something over the counter. If it doesn't, the next day is usually when we see people, and that way we can evaluate and like you said, establish. Okay, well, you have neck pain. Okay, is that neck pain due to, directly due to this accident? It's important that if there's too much time that goes by, and perhaps you don't see a doctor right away. Perhaps it could be misconstrued as later on that the pain that you're suffering is from something else, and it becomes more difficult for the patient. For us, it's fine. We're going to treat you regardless. So if you're injured or if you have pain in the neck, I'm going to treat you. But we've seen it in the 15 years that we've been practicing that it becomes more difficult later on for the patient. They may have some issues with their claim later, because time has gone by, and not only that, because from the claim perspective, but also from the perspective of developing a condition that could have been kind of nipped at the bud, could have been handled sooner and without causing as much pain. Something that's been dragged out and perhaps become a chronic situation has been made worse by some activity that you are now doing that we would have probably counseled you not to do.
We tell people from a legal perspective that gaps in treatment can be fatal to your insurance claim. It's not that you're not hurt or that you don't deserve the treatment, it's that you give the insurance company the opportunity to make the argument that an injury or pain isn't related to the accident. If they can make that argument in good faith, then maybe they offer you less money, maybe they deny the claim when earlier they would have accepted it. I usually tell people you should go see a doctor after an accident regardless. You've been in a traumatic situation, it's worth it to go get checked out, and then if the pains go away, no harm, no foul. It's not like you have to keep going, but if the pains continue, then all of a sudden you've established that care, the doctor knows that you've been involved in an accident, and you can continue that path forward to recovery while having a strong insurance claim with a greater possibility that the insurance companies will pick up the bills. So, it makes sense on a legal side, it makes sense on a medical side. Don't wait to get that initial checkup and see where the case goes. Sometimes we do talk to patients and clients that have issues making appointments for whatever reason. Life gets in the way. Their physical therapy is a couple times a week. Why is it so important medically that clients make these appointments and make sure to follow the doctor's orders?
Right. So the easiest way I can explain this, Brian, is a lot of people try exercising and working out. They try working out one time and they're really sore, and then they don't go back again, or they go out for a run and they ran too much and now they don't want to go back again, and they haven't built on a base, so they haven't established a base of improvement. I wish that you can just work out one day and be healthy for the rest of your life, but it's the same thing. It's all about adaptation. So you have an injury, you injured, let's say some soft tissues, some structure in your body. Now we're trying to mend it. And that is going to require rest, proper movement, proper physical therapy. And the physical therapy is going to build one on top of the other. It's going to, we're going to establish a base where we're, for example, stretching a structure out, strengthening a structure, but it's a step-by-step process that builds. And if you create a gap where I came in for therapy Monday and I don't come again in a week, well, we're not getting really the type of care of consistency that we need. To end on that, to give you a better explanation too, is that we want our patients to, once they start physical therapy, to do a lot of their program at home too. Doesn't mean they're not going to come to the office. They're going to come to the office possibly or likely 3 times a week, where we're going to check to see what they're doing, and we're gonna probably move them up into another type of exercise. But they need to consistently do it during the every day, once or twice a day is what we usually instruct our patients to do. And then as they're coming in this 3 times a week, we're able to tell how much they're actually doing it or not too, or if it's not working. Not everything works either, so we have to reassess. So to make sure it works, that we're on the right road, and to make sure that we're building you back up to where you were before.
Well, in this process, trust and compliance is so important. We tell our clients that it's the classic anything you say and do will be held against you. So you need to make sure that you're listening to the doctor's orders. If they say go to therapy 2 times, 3 times a week, you better make it your point to get there, because the doctor knows what you need to do to get better, and also knows what you need to do to get better fast. So if there's this long drawn out process when there doesn't have to be, the insurance company is more likely to cut off their consideration of the claim at a certain date, and you're going to be holding your hands up in the air saying what happened, and it's all because you didn't follow the doctor's orders. I tell my clients that in a lot of ways the doctor is more important to your case than the lawyer. You need the doctor to be able to come in and give solid opinions about your injury, about your treatment, about your compliance. And if you haven't been giving your best effort, if you've been non-compliant with what the doctor's office recommended, then it's going to be really hard for the doctor to advocate for you and give good opinions on your case. And at that point, if they can't do that, the strength of your case is shot. So we tell our clients all the time, make sure to follow doctor's orders. It's only going to benefit you medically and legally as this process continues. So Dr. Zhao, I really appreciate your time. It's always a pleasure to speak with you and have you help educate our clients as to the best practices for seeking treatment, ensuring that they get the right treatment, and hearing a little bit about what La Clinica does for our community. So thank you again.
Thank you as well for providing this, I think, very valuable information.